What's going on, everybody? I'm relationship expert Terry Duran, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Tyler Perry's latest movie, Acrimony, starring Taraji P. Henson. I've been asked by several followers to share my thoughts on the movie, so I actually went out and checked it out. I really enjoyed the movie. It was very entertaining. And since I talk about relationships and relationship problems on a regular basis, give relationship advice and do sessions, advice sessions with people, it was really interesting for me to get my perspective on the two main characters and the storyline. Just what happened on the movie. So, spoiler alert, if you have not watched the movie yet, you may not want to watch this video yet. I don't want to ruin the experience for anybody, but I'm going to be talking about some details of the movie. I won't try to reveal too much of the storyline per se. So I took some notes about each of the characters that I just wanted to talk about. So Taraji P. Henson's character was a lady named Mel, and her husband was a guy named Robert that she met in college. Now, I think the focus of the movie seems to be mental illness called borderline personality disorder. And so, before we even get into the movie or whatnot, I want to just point out some of the behaviors, because what I do on my page on Instagram at Terry Duran, um, my style of advice, I primarily talk to women. I give them the male perspective on things that they think and do that create conflict or create problems with quality men, right? And so I talk a lot about what women shouldn't do, or ways that they can handle situations or interactions with men that would be create less drama, create less conflict, tension, etc. And so when you're talking about somebody with the borderline personality disorders, these are some of the symptoms or some of the behaviors: explosive anger, self-harm or suicide, feelings of emptiness, abandonment issues, sees others as all good or all bad, very distrustful of others, severe mood swings, very risky behavior. So this is like a gumbo of relationship killing behavior and relationship, killing mindsets. And so that's what made it a very interesting movie to see. And so what happens in the movie is Taraji P. Henson's character is in therapy. So she's talking to a therapist and giving her own perspective on how things went. There's always three sides to a story: your side, they side, and the truth. So she's giving her account of how things went, and how their entire marriage played out, and the scenario that led her to it being in therapy played out from her perspective. And that's what makes it very interesting, because her perspective does not really represent what I saw happening or taking place based off her interactions with the man. Now, the man had his issues too. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was just one bad character and they're paired up with this good character. Now, he has some issues too. One of the things that was problematic about him, he was very manipulative, right? He was very broke. He didn't have anything. He was barely surviving when they met. And based off of her personality type and her connecting to guys and etc., she used the finances that she had at her disposal to make sure that he was good. And he took note of that behavior and kind of finessed it. You know, presented things to her in a way that made her feel like it was her idea. You know what I mean? Like things men have always done, but he did it not necessarily in a malicious way. Like it was things that you can say that he had their interest at heart, but his dedication to achieving that goal will be considered pretty excessive by the average person. So let me provide some context. So they meet in college, and he's broke, living in a trailer. You know what I mean? But he meets her. They just meet coincidentally. Um, they start dating or whatnot, and she realizes how poor and how meager his living situation is. He's living in a trailer that somebody gave him. His aunt lets him keep it in her driveway for free, so he basically ain't got no bills. He's like running on fumes, basically. Very little income in college, etc. And so when he meets up with her, she's in a point in her life where her mother had just passed away. I don't think that they knew her father, or her father was dead already, so it was just her and her sisters. But she had got some inheritance money. She had $350,000 in inheritance, and her mother left her home. And so she was straight financially when they met. But over the course of the relationship, she made some major decisions, things to upgrade him or make his life better. Bought him a vehicle. He lost his scholarships for some reason. She paid out of pocket for him to finish college. So she invested a lot into him. And at the time he was also working on a prototype invention for a new type of battery. And so he had these, very technology startup envision, long-term goals where he's making promises. He's telling, babe, I'm going to buy us a condo at the top of in the penthouse. I'm going to buy you whatever you want. You're going to have this, he's telling her his vision, but his vision is in his brain. He's anticipating it happening a lot faster than it actually happened, right? And so one of the key portions or key scenes or situations that took place in the movie that started the storyline off is a situation where it shows them, her and the guy meeting, they have sex, and it shows them, going through the dating phase or they kicking it or whatnot. Well, it shows him kind of falling off or being inconsistent. Come to find out, he's messing with other women. Now, what I don't know is if they were boyfriend and girlfriend at that point. Was this just right after he had sex with her, he had sex with somebody else? It doesn't really say. But what it does demonstrate is how crazy how Taraji P. Henson's character was, and how she handled anger and feeling betrayed or angry, etc. So she goes to his crib and catches him in the act of having sex with a chick. Doesn't confront him, doesn't say anything to him, just goes 0 to 100 extremely quick, rams her car into the whole trailer and everything. And so in her rage, in her effort to teach him a lesson or whatever her intentions was, she ended up severely injuring herself. And so that's what made it very interesting. And so that event brought them closer together and helped push them to the point where they ended up getting married. But what's interesting is throughout the entire process, she's talking about how she doesn't think it's a good idea, but she's doing it anyway. She doesn't think she's frustrated about him spending money or not having a job, not being willing to work, because the guy had a lot of issues with him too. And some of the things that I wrote down about him, Robert. Now, he was very charming. He was manipulative, meaning he could finesse her and talk her into doing things. He was very optimistic. He always had visions of being successful, visions of being rich. So he was optimistic, very ambitious, driven. He was spending majority of his time for over 18, 19 years working on one specific goal. So he was very driven in that regard. But the biggest knock on him is he had a bum man's mentality when it comes to contributing steady income to a household. He was so focused on working on his product and his invention that he was cool letting his girl spend all her bread taking care of them. He was cool not having a job for several months and wouldn't go get a job until they were at the point where it was an emergency or she was drowning in financial ruin pretty much. And so he sat there as her entire inheritance and all her finances, everything that she could put into it, dwindled to nothing, right? But the turning point of the movie happened to come when it was just like a perfect storm of situations, and with the way that Taraji P. Henson's character Mel handled it, making assumptions, not allowing him to communicate, not allowing him to give her a clear explanation, negative thinking, pessimistic perspective on things. Some of that was warranted. She had caught him cheating with the same woman that came back into the picture later on. So she had prior history and good reason to feel some type of way about this woman. But her reactions were all based off of her assumptions. And a lot of her assumptions were incorrect. With the outside of her man not contributing financially, it showed him being cold emotionally and things of that nature. Things that may be indicators of narcissist or narcissistic behaviors. But he wasn't abusive. He wasn't disrespecting her. He did actually love her. He did actually, want to give her the world and was actually working to try to put them in a better position. So he was a flawed man, like normal, you know what I mean? But he wasn't, you could tell he had good intentions. He had her best interests at heart. And so he gets in a situation where the girl that he was in the trailer with smashing back in college is ending up working at a corporation where he's trying to get these batteries that he's working on, trying to get a license and agreement with them. So she ends up getting him the meeting that he needs with the company, right? And this is at a situation where he had to let somebody down, let some family members down on something that they were really counting on him on. People that had gave him a job. He ended up fucking up a major client for them based off he had to make this meeting for his battery that he'd been working on for 18 or 19 years. So he made the conscious decision, am I going to just take this risk and mess over y'all or go get this 8-figure payday, which is what he was envisioning? Well, it turns out they only offered him 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? Like they offered him like a take it or leave it, sign right now today deal of 800 grand. And so he's sitting here contemplating. His wife is on his ass not contributing financially. She's dwindled away her fortune. Her home is in foreclosure. Everything is going wrong. And this $800,000, if he takes this check today, will instantly be solved. But he will be shortchanging himself on his invention. He really knows his worth. He really knows it's worth several $1 million. So he declines the offer. And that anger from being told how he declined the deal set a fuse, right? So she dumps him. Taraji's character goes off and she breaks up with him, says she wants a divorce. He's begging her to reconsider. Babe, they offered me 800 grand. I know we'll be able to get the money. It's work, you know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to get her to stay with him. She ends up leaving him and divorcing him, right? So he's homeless. He's staying in a shelter. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really in grind mode, trying to make ends meet. He's washing dishes at a restaurant, doing what he got to do to make ends meet. And so it just so happened that the girl from college that he was smashing takes the interest in him and his project to start looking at his research, looking at the stuff he's been submitting to the company, gets it reviewed, and ends up getting him, I want to say, a $25 million deal. Now, when he gets this money, you would think this happened after they were divorced, right? So he could have just walked away and kept it moving, went on to be great, but he didn't. The man in the movie gave Taraji's character $10 million and went and repurchased her mother's house that had got foreclosed on. So just out of the kindness of his heart, he gave her $10 million and the home that she lost. So at that point, he has made up for all his wrongs. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done everything that he can possibly do to make up for the income that he didn't make, for the sacrifices that he made, for the unhappiness he caused. Very noble. Something that a lot of people would not do. But based off this disorder, that wasn't good enough. Her character saw him moving on with another woman, saw him providing the lifestyle that he had promised her, And based off her mental illness, she couldn't handle it. So she snapped and went into revenge mode. And that's how she went over the edge and became the psychotic stalker chick and doing the most. But what shocked me the most is, man, you're still doing this. You have the money to go buy yourself everything that he's buying for his wife. You have the finances and the lifestyle where, I mean, all the resources you need to be able to find somebody else to make you happy. But that's what the type of thing that happens when you dwell on other people's lives and making comparisons and etc. and not accepting accountability for the decisions that you made. You divorced this man when he was homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he still had the kindness in his heart to come to you and give you $10 million that he did not have to give you. So it's a very good movie, man. I think it teaches a lot of life lessons. It shows a lot of perspective, but it also shows what happens when women or men constantly make assumptions, constantly tell themselves things or convince themselves of things about others that basic communication could actually clarify for them. Having a conversation, asking questions instead of simply responding to an assumption. That is always going to be problematic in a relationship and will make it very difficult for any couple to have a healthy relationship. If you can't give your spouse the benefit of the doubt and allow them to explain a scenario to you or explain their decisions to you, you're never going to be able to get on the same page and be moving in the same direction with someone else. So I just wanted to take the time to give my thoughts on the movie. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend you go see it. It shows both sides of the fence, shows how two people can look at the same scenario or the same relationship and have completely differing perspectives on how things went down. Because she even, like I said, even after he gave her the money and made up for all the frustration and time, I mean, what more can you want? He wasn't abusing you. He didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't hurt. He wasn't the evil husband. You know what I mean? Like, so it just shows you how drastically different men and women can see things. So that was my perspective on it, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Leave your feedback, leave your comments. Make sure you share the videos. I appreciate you tuning in.